So this is what half of the tool looks like. It's going to grab onto the bearings and pull them off. Okay. So shaft. I'll open this up. Open this up. And we're going to. Okay. So open this up a bit more. Slide this through, and it's going to pinch that metal bit there. Perhaps something to point with, which I don't. Sorry. Oh, there's the camera. This metal bit that my fingernail is pointing to, that's a spacer. Okay. So you're going to put this metal bearing puller just behind it. It's going to grab on and it's going to pull it up like this. Tighten this up. I'm not going to do it too tight, because if it's too tight, as the axle's sliding through, this will score the axle. Okay, finger tight will work. Okay, I hope you can see. You got the big spacer, the two bearings, and the light colored silver bit under the bearings is the other spacer, and then this is pinched just behind that spacer. Then we screw in the other half. So here, okay, then it's easier to do it like this. Hopefully this all makes sense now. Just want to get that nice and centered. Tighten it on there. Alright, nice and tight. Bob's your uncle. Okay, so we start. Any second. I'm not sure if you can see, but the jaws of this are not even contacting the axle, so it's just big enough a gap. Now it's loose enough. Do it by hand, and voila, bare axle. Two bearings and a spacer, and the small spacer. Done. Okay, here's the new titanium axle, which is actually a little bit longer than standard, but that's okay because I got it for free from a friend. That's one I've just pulled the bearings off. That's one I'll show you in a minute how to get the bearings off. So let's first get the bearings on. This kind of tool is going to save you any type of hammering. Not too expensive, it's cheap and nasty, but does the job. Don't ask me what it's called, some kind of bearing puller. Okay, so we find the big spacer is actually quite tight, the bearings are kind of tight, and the small spacer is not tight. Then the dust seals come off. Oops. And there's a rubber one here. There you go. That's the old axle. I just make sure I've got the right. Yeah, just looking at the threads to make sure they're the right ones. Okay, dust seal goes back on. This is the right hand pedal with that fitting, not the left hand pedal with the hexagonal fitting. Goes on like that, and then this one with the camera. Don't know if you can see, but it's got a bit of a bezel. Goes this way towards the bearings. Okay, now you can kind of push this on just with your hands a little bit, I think. Did it with the last one and it just clicked. Just kind of, there you go, and it just snaps. And now it's stuck. So you just push it and it goes click and snaps. And now it's sitting straight as well. Okay. Then we're going to add 2 bearings. I don't know if I should grease the outside of these or not, but I'm going to. Just so I don't have to wonder about it. I have no idea if this, I'm just wondering if this might help keep dust out of the bearings. I know they're already sealed, but if any dust does get past the dust seal, pop these on. So notice it goes on a part of the way and then this stops. And the next one goes on like that, and then the final spacer like that. Okay, so then what I did with the last one, I don't know if I need it. Just added a drop of Teflon lube, like Triflow kind of stuff. Okay, I don't know if you need that. Okay, and what I did for the last one was you want to set the width, use your old axle. So set the width here so that you don't score the axle too much, obviously. If it's too small, when it's going through, it's going to hit and rub on the axle, and you don't really want that. You want it just small enough to contact the outer edges of this aluminium spacer. So I'm actually going to do for pressing on. Let's turn this backwards. So I'm just closing the gap here, bringing these closer together. So the hole in the middle, put better there, just bigger than the axle when it passes through. That's looking pretty close. Okay, looks good. Okay, so then this, remember this is all still loose. It's going to go in. And then it really comes into hold by hand. Okay, then we just start screwing this in. Pretty much do this by hand. Let's see if I can show you here. A little bit further. So until here's the bearings, until they come back and they contact the small spacer. Might need a bit of help from
give it. Just gonna tighten it up so it's snug. That's pretty good. Okay, undo that. Take it off. Hopefully, bearings spin nice. Good. With any luck, I should of course grease this. This is for the needle bearing at the end of the pedal spindle. So there's actually the needle bearing sits in here. And with any luck, it'll spin nice. It's a 19mm. Feels alright. Nice and smooth. No free playing these babies either. Good. That's how you put it on.